love seeing this on YouTube. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lori, and thank you for everyone who's written steadily through the month and told other people in our community about 30 Poems in November. I think that I've cheered all the writers on throughout the month, so I just want you guys to do a damn good job tonight. Don't screw up, okay? And hopefully you all practice at home, like I said. But we're mostly here to have fun, and there's a lot of talent here tonight. We did ask Leslia Newman to read first in honor of her beginning the whole concept of 30 Poems in November. And following Leslia Newman will be Doug Anderson on deck. If he's here, did you see him here? Well, Leslia, you are on. And if everyone else could mute themselves while people are reading, but please keep your cameras on so we can see the audience.
Okay, well, hi again. I took the month to work on a series of poems about cats, and many of the poems are imitations. So this is an imitation of My True Love Hath My Heart by Sir Philip Sidney, which was written in the 1500s, and it's called My Kitten Has My Heart and I Have Hers. My kitten has my heart and I have hers. We traded on the day she wandered in to serenade me with her rumbling purrs as I caressed her belly and her chin. Her heart in me so brave and strong and sweet, my heart in her so grateful and so true. My darling kitten makes my life complete. Without her, I don't know what I would do. Her grace, her beauty, and her feline ways fill my heart and soul with such delight as we curl up and sleep away our days and then unfurl to prowl away the night. Knowing that whatever else occurs, my kitten has my heart and I have hers. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. So Doug Anderson, if you would read, and then Therese Carr is on deck.
I don't think we have Doug with us.
Oh, okay. Well, Doug wrote really great poems, everyone. So just imagine that for a moment. Okay, Therese, you're on deck. Unmute yourself. And then after that is going to be Linda Castronovo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. All right, so I'm going to read a poem called Once in a Blue Moon. And it has an epigraph, and it is: a full moon will be visible on Halloween for the first time since 1944. And this appeared in the Boston Globe, October 28th, 2020. Once in a blue moon. Winter slipped in like a draft under October's closing door, unexpected but not surprising. The day before Halloween and it's snowing, the first hard freeze of the season on the horizon. Trees naked on top wear white tutus, flakes clinging to the last few flaming leaves, tamping the embers. Skeletal limbs draped in sheets shudder in the wind, casting ghostly shadows as they rake brittle claws across a Delft moon, the bright satellite full for the second time this month, her face blue with cold. Stubborn New Englanders grumble, firing up boilers. It's anathema up here to break down and crank the heat before the penultimate month. But the darkness has arrived early this year, and no one wants to shiver with both cold and fear as the witching hour draws near. Thank you.
Reese is one of my inspirations
You too.
in school. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Linda Castronova, you are up, and then Gio Cernada will follow.
Okay, I spent the last 7 months, or I'm still out here actually, in Southern California, helping take care of some grandchildren. And one thing I did every day was hike in the wilderness around this little suburban enclave. So this is called Walk with Coyotes. Leave behind concrete sidewalks, lighted paths. Leave behind humans, asleep in dwellings tucked into a narrow canyon. Climb the path rising above landscaped gardens. Still dark as night, with light promised behind the eastern ridge. This is the in-between time for creatures of the day and night. I feel their eyes, I hear their feet, crunching through dry brush. They stop when I stop, freeze into stillness, melt into the gray-brown brush. Only twitching ears gives them away. 4 pairs of round brown eyes stare back at me. We see each other and walk on together.
Oh, that was gorgeous. Thank you. Oh, forgot you're out in California. Okay. Gio Cernada, and then Elsa Klein will be up. You are on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Am I on now?
Good job. Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we
You
hear
can
you.
hear me.
Yep.
Thank you. This is called Night Market, somewhere in Asia when I was 25 years old. Coiled in the shadows of the noodle stand, barefooted pedicab drivers, chopsticks click. They are squatting, slurping soup, lips sucking luxurious long egg yellow noodles. Watching snake blood drain wiggingly into hesitant, gaping, glittering gold-toothed mouths of blue-eyed tourists. Pasty-faced foreigners waving large denomination notes, bargaining up to double the price of fake plastic jade and poorly embroidered shirts and skirts. That's it.
Thank you. We're all clapping.
You're welcome.
Hard that we can't hear clapping, but so Elsa Klein is next, and then we'll have a couple slides, and after the slides will be Patricia Crosby.
So I'm going to read my annual villanelle. A villanelle must be written. We're halfway through the month. It's time. But by the V-bug, I've just not been bitten. So what to do if I'm not smitten with the villanelle form, the villanelle rhyme? A villanelle must be written. The pencil poised, my brow is knitting, waiting for the villanelle bell to chime. But by the V-bug, I've just not been bitten. I wish it were easy, like playing with a kitten or stopping a car right smack on a dime. A villanelle just needs to be written. It's like the nursery rhyme, I've lost a mitten. No villanelle comes, that's my crime, 'cause by the V-bug, I've just not been bitten. I twiddle my thumbs where I'm sitting and have no villanelle thoughts sublime. A villanelle must be written, but by the V-bug, I've just not been bitten.
Nicely done. Amazing persistence with the villanelle. We need sound effects. So these are a few slides of our students in different classrooms. We have classrooms in Greenfield and Amherst and Northampton. And we just thought we'd show some students in action now and then. Thank you. Patricia Crosby, you're up. Lori DeRosiers, you are following Patricia.
Hi, everyone. This poem was written November 14th, and it's from my friend Joe, whom I lost this year. And I just want to say what a great opportunity this was to do something you love and have your friends and colleagues and acquaintances pay you for it. It's wonderful. And then to turn that money over to such a great organization. They say it has little to do with beauty or brains or security. Mostly it's scent. We call it crush, love, passion, destiny's knell. Not even aware it was simply the right smell. If this is true of mating, is it of friends? Was her cinnamon just the right complement to my pepper, your thyme? How else to explain how one particular person in this long parade of living steps out, taps your shoulder, draws you into her line, and that you follow? Can you count on one hand those people, as do I? Do you know where they are? Find them. Hurry. That bright star, solid compass, reliable horizon isn't what we'd like to believe forever. Track down those chemical elements and bind them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Lori DeRosiers, you're up, and then Howard Fairstein.
Hi, I'm here, and this is going to be an illustrated prose poem because my fish tanks are behind me, and the fish tanks make an appearance in the poem. So it's a prose piece, a prose poem. At midnight, I think I hear the last birds of summer singing, but it is only the fish tank filter squeaking its low water. And the cranberry tree in the yard is still full of berries and will be all winter, waiting for the waxwing's visit in March, a flurry of gray wings, yellow tails bobbing, pulling every last berry from the branches, fuel for their journey north. Now, only grackles, starlings, and chickadees scour the leaf-strewn ground for bugs, their fledglings grown, like our no longer children, in their own houses with other birds and other trees, waiting for winter to freeze the air clean of viruses, ticks, and other threats to our banal but beautiful existence. When will it be summer again, my loves? We and our world are aging as we watch, but feel the same inside our minds as we did 30, 40 years ago. We only need to look at our reflections to remember our mortality. Yet the seasons return every year and will do so for eons without us when we're gone.
Oh, thank you. We'll see what the winter does for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love having your energy here. All right, Howard, I saw that you're here. I know it. And then Finn is up next, C.D. Finley.
Hello. This is an epistolary poem. Letter on the onset of winter, sequestration. Dear, the scraggly lawn finally whitened and then brown. Summer's garden barren, though bare earth itself a garden. Hemlock trees, massive darkness, a grade darker after nightfall. Plague has dropped its web over the earth, and I've bottled up for months, dry as Alamogordo in August. When it was still possible to be together, you remarked that the main character in my story was irredeemable. I held back from saying that character was me. You also said leaves are not intimate with rocks. Perhaps that's because we live in different forests. You have ginkgo and hornbeam, sycamore protected by wire fencing. Here, tulip tree leaves cover schist, pine needles and oak leaf drape boulders. Everything else you said is true. Crows, creek, loon. I read lines this morning that stitched together greedy raptors, crucified butterflies. How does one's imagination account for that? And when did warehouses become fulfillment centers? I dreamed of robins, how they too will soon disappear, though when waking I realized there's no tense for that future, nor explanation for wasps flying in New England in November. Even a bat zigzagging through Spring Creek Cemetery last night. If you were to join me, we'd chisel out cambium, carve nesting holes for screech owls, but that's not possible now. I've always been a fool for love. As ever, H.
Woo, thank you. Your cat did great too. All right. Finn, you there? Anita,
I am.
right, Anita Gallers is on deck. C.D. Finley here.
This is my my day 22. Oh, 27. All we have is what we can give. But I know I can give more. I can give the bows I've saved, the cake in the freezer, the man I married too young, the wake and the me, sir, the diamonds I've earned and given away, the alamans of life, the swing and the sway, the weather and the weathered, the sun and the sea, the odd dreams I wake from, the sequences, 3, the nuts and the candies stored in a drawer, the backwards I've gone and also the forward, the pencils I've broken, the nickels and dimes, the tryouts, the failures, surprises like wine. I give every freckle, every flaw, every pore. I'd give up my doubts and my pride and my youth. I'd wrap it all up and tie it up quick so you can have journeys and not just a peak, and trials and woes. And here's a comb. Now come back, find the part to a place they call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Finn. Beautiful. Okay, Anita Gallers is up and Nora Glass, you are on deck. Refrigerator.
Oh, sorry, I'm not doing refrigerator. You needed to get that request in sooner, my bad. Sorry. Ask me later if you want to know about the rules of refrigerator Tetris. But today I'm going to do the Lament of the Bug River. And this is after Richard Blanco's Complaint of El Rio Grande. Lament of the Bug River. Despite being beautiful and blue, to date, I have inspired no waltzes famous enough for parody, or any waltzes at all, as far as I know. No boat songs either, though I've transported many vessels and lost a few too. You use me instead to divide yourselves and each other. You could say I'm a natural border. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but you could, and probably would, since you believe in borders and believe they're natural. One thing I know isn't natural: elders and young people and little ones in whatever boats they could access, or risking themselves swimming, trying to cross me to safety, shot at by 2 different armies, one on each bank. So many drowned, those who survived couldn't stop talking about it until they too were drowned in flames, or gases, or a different set of bullets, or terror, or despair. One swimmer's heartbeat vibrated through my whole body, tapped out the Morse code of her thoughts. This river, this moment is how we Jews live, navigating unsafe waters, just trying to survive all the varieties of people who want to kill us, all the varieties of ways they try. And the only certainty we have, our only guarantee, is the deep knowledge that every day could be the day they succeed. That is not the metaphor I was meant for. Someone please write me into a waltz, a boat song, anything to imbue me with something besides that heartbeat. Surely that isn't all I can be to you. Surely that isn't all you can be to each other, you who are such fine composers. Thank you, guys.
Wow, that was powerful. Wow, thank you. So I have to admit that I skipped over Dina Friedman. So Nora Glass is going to go next because she was on deck. And then Dina Friedman is going to be after that. It's going to be like the bonus F right in the middle of the G's. I mean, how often does that happen, right? Today that happens. So here's Nora.
Okay, this is my poem from the 23rd. I can put it in the chat if you like. It is, I'm sorry. It is called Wax in My Head. I'll put it in the chat after I'm done reading it. Wax in my head. There's a block in my brain of cold, hard wax, and it isn't ever never gonna melt. It pulses and it whines and it takes up all my mind, and it won't stop poking till it's felt. I can plug my ears tight and blow my nose loud, but all that's gonna do is help it stick. There's a block in my brain of cold hard wax, and I really, really need to find the wick. If I lean in close and close my eyes, sometimes I think I hear a little buzz. Turns out that block in my brain of cold hard wax has some bees living in there. Yes, it does. When I woke last night, my face was sticky gold, and a sweet, sweet taste was on my tongue. Those bees in my head made a stain on my bed, and I just hope that soon I won't get stung. The wax in my head is now filled with a hum of hard-working families being made. They care for me, which I don't deserve, and I can't help but wonder why they've stayed. At a flower field, I took a short rest, wanting to please the hive within. I woke up with care, a sweet scent in the air, and vibrant blooms up to my shins. I wonder if the bees, to make all their treats, ever feed on whatever they find. I think they eat my brain, but here's the thing, I'm not really sure if I mind. I see the world in bursts of gold, vivid flowers speckle us all. I make my home in honeycomb and feel like a giant but small. The wax that's my head is now warm, full of love. I've given myself to the hive. I'm never alone, and I am a home. I am the bees, and we thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nora. That was just really fantastic. Yes, Dina Friedman.
Hi, so I want to thank Sarah just for some great prompts, and I just read such wonderful poems all month, and I learned a couple of new words. There was a poem called Cicatrices. I didn't know what a cicatrices tricks was, but now I do, and this is in response to that poem. Cicatrix. We have a word for the tough covering of skin over scars, but what's the word for a wound still open? Slot canyon in the body corralling infection. What's the word for a tree alone and sick in the woods, or a planet fighting invisible gases? Imagine a festering gut, your core eaten from its inside. Cicatrix, same word used for the newer, tougher bark if the tree recovers, but no word for the loneliness of dying, the tumble of ice off a glacier into churning water. When a tree's trunk hardens in its hollowing, we name it snag, the same word used for obstacles in plans, divine or otherwise. Snags stand for years before falling flat, their edges sloughing off into a wasteland of fist-sized pieces, no longer a dependable marker at the road's fork.
Thank you, Dina. That was great. Hadn't seen that one. We're just going to show a couple more slides and then Sivia is on deck, Sivia Gover.
Oops.
Back in
This is your
time.
Northampton class.
That looks like fun. Like that's where I want to be.
And this woman was one of our alumni. And this is childcare in Amherst. And when we get back together again, we will have childcare in Greenfield as well. All right, back to you.
Oh, thank you. We need music for these. Okay, so spotlight on Sivia Gover, and then Samantha Grossman's on deck. Hello.
Okay, so this month I took some time to work on poems reimagining the biblical matriarch Sarah's life, what it might have been like from her point of view. And she herself was a migrant. She was traveled to strange lands, traveled far from home to unknown places and an unknown destiny. But this poem I'm going to read sort of starts farther back in the beginning. So the poem is called In This Beginning. In this beginning, darkness blesses the ocean's depths. The word is bowl, concave as a pumpkin's hollowed cheek. And Eve asks the animals their names. Her daughters write the garden into the story in an alphabet blossoming glyph by glyph, heavy on the branches, ripe desire, sweet fulfillment. This story, written in water, stored in clouds, blesses the barren field, revered for its reticence and revelation. Girls grow up to tell the tale of a covenant signed in the blood of birth, and an infant's first screech high-fives a deity who feels your pain. Sorry boys scour the pages in search of a man doing anything besides perching on a stone wall on a lonely country lane, thighs akimbo, offering his humid sex for whatever price he can get. Is this what we have waited for? Women at the fire, men at the shadowed edges, wearing someone else's ill-fitting empathy? I want to be a daughter of that book, except for the knowledge that with the pen in your hand, the ending is yours to live with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love hearing at least a couple of that series. And I wish we could hear each other clapping, but I hope everyone knows that comments are happening in the chat for all of us. So make sure you look at that. All right, Samantha Grossman's up and then Madeline Haber will be up.
Hello.
Hi there.
So I guess for context, this is directly from one of Sarah's quotes. One of Sarah's prompts from Nikki Giovanni's The Laws of Motion. And I didn't really follow the prompt, except I kind of used the title. But also my relationship with dance in my life is complicated and an evolving journey. And so, yeah. So this is called The Laws of Moving Bodies. Laws govern my moving body that don't fit quite right. A little too loose around the waist, too tight on my thighs, some hemming needed to tighten the look and to loosen the bind around my knees. But the pins are starting to dig and I'm out of thread. Ripping the cloth from my skin, only to find it has embedded its strict, thick weave into my flesh, flexible enough to appear loose in the breeze that ripples the silks I imagine into being, fluttering in a cascade of sliding limbs. And I've ripped the seams by now, but I don't care. So long as my spine answers to new laws, though the fibers of that tight dress still cling to my collarbones. But I ignore them long enough to follow this connection down deep into the earth.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. So glad you were with us this year. So Madeline Haber and then Amy Horowitz.
Hi, this is my third year here, and this is a poem that I wrote, I'd say about the second weekend. It's called The Winds Awaken. Cold air awakens my face, gloved hands stay warm. It's taken me a lifetime to learn not to complain about the weather. What every day brings is neither punishment nor gift for you. Weather is not personal, it moves through on its own. Often we fall asleep right when the day is bright and full, miss where we are while imagining ourselves someplace better. It's hard being the person you are when you can imagine being born another. It's taken me a lifetime to learn to be no more or less than myself. I lost many a balloon letting go of the string. Some I have watched take flight, enjoying their skyward display. Others drifted away without ever being seen. Life gives us all the time we need to figure out its mysteries. To bring ourselves back when we lose our way, a cold wind slaps us in the face to remind us who we are.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Oh, weather is not personal. Okay, so Amy's up and then Terry S. Johnson on deck.
This is on watching the Connecticut College dance concert on Zoom, and it's called Her Hair is Her Dance Partner. Girls glide on campus swings and plank the park bench on a foreground of frosted long grasses and intact oak leaves. They ab themselves along with the wind to the music. Breath masked, cold, hands clasp and hold. Tap shoes clack a beat, while the clouds roll without regard for the metronome. We sit too close, remote from too far away, until we are all framed in the chicken wire fencing stuffed with daisies. On one side or the other from the water-bearing ceremony and the Havana between transparent pitchers and sukkah posts. Edith Piaf will sing to these dancers under a sky the shape of Montana. There are no vanishing points in this horizon, and not enough representatives for too many states. Now the camera decides for our eyes.
Oh, I love that. My second time hearing that one. And now the camera decides for our eyes. All right, and the camera just decided on Terry S. Johnson.
Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to see everyone in support of and celebration of this wonderful community effort. I'm going to read a haiku sequence I wrote this month called Preparation. Geese Mardi Gras south in sky parades. Bears slump, then sleep, stay put. Beavers gnaw, amass food in soggy lodges, oversee their ravaged swamps. We gather parched leaves, deadhead spent blossoms, hammer orange sticks in still soft ground, a warning to snowplows. As if stakes and rakes can stave off winter's harm. then scrounge closets, wash polyester coats, hats, gloves. We fill the fridge with hot-house strawberries as Arctic bears float ice shorn. Thanks, everyone.
What a nice, powerful ending. I mean, nice in a word way. It was beautiful. Okay, I didn't even get to say Becky Jones was on deck. So Becky, I hope you have your unmute button ready. You do. And then we're gonna have a short video after Becky, just so everyone knows of a student's testimony.
So for this poem, you might want to remember that my last name is Jones.
How do you spell that? Just kidding.
My true nature. My sister and I sifted through old family papers the other day and discovered a nursery school report about her. Along with all of her on-target developmental and social skills, it said she needs to be kept busy. Absolutely, I thought. It's in her DNA, and mine too. A friend once watched my sisters and me stack firewood. She described our scurrying about as the Jones anthill. These days, when we yearn to be together, yet back away when we get too close, I have been content to draw inward and shutter the entrance to my shell. Am I snail or am I ant? The computer screen lets me be both. It is the membrane that protects the soft snail of me, but it's the very thing that allows the ant that is me to zoom about.
Oh, the play on Zoom. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right, Millman, do we have a live action video? Well, it's not live.
We do. We do.
My name is Ernest Afo. I come from Ghana. I came to United States. That was last year, December. And I started a new American school. That was January. The time I came here, I didn't know much about English. And it's hard for me when someone speak American language to understand. Was very hard. So I went to the school and I started school from the last year up to date. And the teachers in the class and the administration and most of them who teach me, they teach me well. And on my spelling also became good, and to read now I can read. When someone speak, I can understand, and I can also spelling and write. And as at now, I'm planning to attend a CNA class, assistant nurse, and that's my goal now. And I'm still going to this English school. And I will thank each and everybody that helped me in the school. God bless everybody. God bless the school.
Well, thank you. That was great.
Back to you, Sarah.
Back to me. Okay. Tamar Kaplan, are you ready for action? And then Patricia Lee Lewis is going to be after Tamar.
Okay. I did unmute myself.
You are unmuted.
Yes, I was just getting this prompt to unmute, but I am unmuted. Okay, so my poem is, I wrote my poem for a friend who also donated to the campaign or the project. And I wrote this poem following after we viewed a film together called My Octopus Teacher. So
Yeah.
maybe some of you have seen the film. Okay. It's called Octopus. Clever octopus, You wrap yourself in kelp from prey to hide or predator, upon whose back you ride, wrapped in a suit of armor made of shells gathered from the ocean floor. Perhaps it is to know the human visitor, friend or foe. Your arms explore his fingers, hand, and chest. But I think there's more when here you rest, like comfort, fondness, trust, a bond of friendship, like between us.
Oh, thank you. Oh, great sounds there. The bond between us. Okay, Phyllis was not able to join us tonight, so Patricia Lee Lewis and then Mike McDonald.
Am I on?
You are on. I'm not sure Patricia Crosby is spotlighted for some reason. There, now it's you.
Just the wrong Patricia. Well, thank you for doing this, Sarah and Lori. I've done this every year for 12 years, from the time Leslie put us all to work and Lori held us all together. It's been a wonderful run. I can remember, I just wanted to add to what Leslie said about that first year. No, there was no website. You couldn't give online. I remember at the reading, people were literally throwing checks at Leslie, who was trying to keep track of what people were contributing. It was really quite wonderful. The energy always so good. So thank you for making all of that possible, and the Wall family for being such great sustainers. And I want to just put a little thank you out. I had nearly 60 people donate to Center for New Americans through my poems this year, and I'm very grateful for that. This was a poem I wrote on November 19th. I really did write a poem every day. Some of them I hope nobody ever reads. A lot of them were diatribes during the election, or elation after the election, or, oh my God, is he going to take it away after the election? So on the 19th, I was kind of spent, and this is what I wrote. I didn't write a poem today. I wish I had, but I forgot. I made my bed, I brushed my teeth and washed my face. I put the dishes away and made some toast. My friend and bookkeeper came right on time. We worked, we talked, we had some tea. I didn't write a poem when we were done, but followed her outside and took the trash. A wind came up, cold inside the sunny afternoon. I took a nap. A poem appeared and faded out again. I warmed up some supper, egg noodles, spinach, 2 eggs, a glass of wine, but a poem? The day itself was poem enough, I said, in self-defense. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. All right, Mike McDonald, and on deck is Aideen.
This is called In the Usually Peaceful Valley of Each Other. Sometimes I have to shake my head without losing it. Our decapitated stone Buddha lost his head long before I found him and planted him in my wife's weed garden. Now she suggests I get rid of the ugly thing and install a decorative streetlight. A fine compromise, I can hear her thinking. I hazard my response. Streetlights, my darling, are designed to illuminate pavements of dark desire. Well, even headless stone Buddhas spread compassionate light on weed gardens of our hearts. My wife responds with a stony warning. If my dear husband's obsession with meditating on a slab of concrete leads to his losing his mind, well, he won't have his dear wife's help finding it again. I politely and sweetly pontificate. Don't you see, my dear? The whole point of headless meditation is to lose your mind in order to enter the glow of blissful dreamlight rather than suffering the glaring stare of insomnia's streetlights. Yeah, right, she replies.
That was great. Thank you. All right, and Idine Martinez, you want to say a couple words about yourself and why you are the student representative this year before you read your poem?
Yes, I write it in the paper.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, everyone. This year I serve as a student spokesperson because I want to help Center for New Americans, and I want to tell people the amazing job they do with every student. As a student person, a spokesperson, I have to talk with people about Center for New Americans. I want many people to know about Center for New Americans because they help a lot to the people. They help me to improve my English in reading, skills, writing, speaking, and understand the people. I saw my classmates and other students achieve their goals. Now I can understand and speak more with my doctors, friends, and my children teachers. Center for New Americans help immigrants for study English and for study for the citizens test. They have a good staff, and I want to say thank you to all of the writers for participating in 30 poems in November this year.
And thank you.
You're welcome. Now I want to read one of my poems. The title is I Am Poem. I am creative and kind. I wonder about my kids' future. I hear the moon cry. I see the moon dancing. I want to stop the COVID-19. I am creative and kind. I pretend I am a superhero. I feel an angel. I touch the stars. I worry about the COVID-19. I cry when I remember my grandma. I am creative and kind. I understand we need to take care in this moment. I say children are our future. I dream about we do when the pandemic ends. I try to be strong in this moment. I hope to do my best. I am creative and kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Laura's going to just show a couple other slides, and we have Ellen Millermack up, and then Linda Neese on deck. And just in terms of technology, there's a lending program for iPads, which has been, or similar tablets, which has been very important during the pandemic. And Center for New Americans has been providing hotspots because a lot of people did not have internet connectivity. So we actually were in a pretty good situation for being prepared to do some online teaching from experienced teachers already had with students, but it's been a big demand on resources. So thank you. All right, Ellen Millermack. Look at you. Hello. I'm so proud you're here.
I did unmute myself. Okay, hi everyone. I'm gonna read 3 short poems. Being white. Abandoned muddy potatoes scattered like stones at low tide in the fields on Aquavita Road. I am stuffing them in my coat pockets. What if someone sees me? I swear I've never done this before. I would say, no one else wants them, right? Have you ever made potato prints with your grandkids? I would ask, dressed for the weather and so white. This one starts with, I'm gonna blow a little kiss to Ray Charles at the beginning of this. Wish I could sing it. I know you told me such a long time ago, we should call each other from our deathbeds, or if the Pretenders make a new album. The blues ain't nothing but a rogue wave on the shores of love. The blues ain't nothing but a good woman losing her home. Wherever you are somewhere on this river. The day the sun bounced, scramble and commotion in the western sky before dusk. You could almost hear it. Mysterious solos, spotlit square of cornfield, only seen from upstairs, and the spiky tree in the wetland as the sun gets teary. Dusk drops fast this sunless winter day. Brittle corn stubs stabbing through the snow, and beyond, a field frozen as a blue pond. That's when the sun bounces back and lights a rim of bare trees, like a row of red candles. Or would you rather think the clouds part for that instant, surprising the whole damn sky? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Linda Neese, and then Narissa Niels is going to be after Linda.
Okay. I did my poem when Sarah suggested we write a long, skinny poem, and this is dedicated to my students. My students tenaciously face each new day. Good morning, teacher. Eyes twinkling, sitting before me. Online boxes like a game on TV, taking turns, winning the prize. Teacher, how do you say? Quickly, absorbing all I have, making me search, learning more to teach them, to answer the question for lives interrupted by language that stumbles, cold and hard, until finally it flows like honey, sweet and golden from their lips, smiling, sunlight, their gratitude palpable. Teacher, I understand. Tenaciously, they go into new journeys, a career, higher ed, fearlessly traveling beyond the space of our online classroom, defying the odds. Winner takes all.
What a way to capture it. Some small piece of it. Thank you so much. All right, Marissa's up, and then Jason Alder is on deck.
I really want to thank Sarah Sullivan. You are such an inspiration. Your prompts were amazing. And a shout out to Nora and Francis, my awesome students. This is for you. New York City, 1973. The yearning began in New York City, 1973, on my old bedroom closet floor, where we lay pink plastic plates down for our Malibu Barbies to have tea, their secret home. My hair was turning brown, had turned from gold, and I was waiting for it to turn back. I want to be a feminist now, so I scold that girl, tell her she watched too much I Dream of Jeannie, Love American Style, had her mind poisoned and colonized with the very worst of the patriarchy. Aging wives on the screen tormenting their exasperated husbands with requests for affection. Who would love an old punching bag like that with her desperate corseting, exposing her crepey décolletage as a last resort? By the time we moved to Virginia, there was no one to remember the blonde. I was invisible, or worse, a desperate housewife to be craving affection. First, it was halved lemons scraped onto my scalp, hours in the sun. As soon as I had 10 babysitting dollars, I bought a bottle of Sun-In at the Dart Drug, began the awkward road back to gold. There I am, I said in my mid-20s when Patrick pulled off the silver foils to reveal the real me. Did I imprint my own eyes with that color, or yours too? Is that what all you see when you look at me? But still, I want to be a feminist. And I see how tarnished our gold has become, how many we killed to accumulate centuries of golden oppression, golden thievery, golden microaggressions, golden handcuffs, darling. Don't you see what you have done to yourself? And so yesterday, while the child was sleeping, dreaming of her long ago closet full of pink plastic plates in Malibu Barbie, I asked Patrick to wash out the gold, replace it with whatever he had that matched the once brown, now somewhere more frosty. First snow on forest floor, do you have that color? I chalked it up to the pandemic, but I could see in his eyes that it was something else. When he said goodbye, he wished me well. He told me he may go to law school. Too many of his customers are going gray. What did I see when he was finished washing out the gold? Someone I remembered from long ago, someone desperate to be seen, to be loved. And of course, when the child awoke, she wept. Where is my gold? She cried. What have you done? And why? None of the whys will comfort her. So I take her in my arms and hold her. I whisper into her brown hair, I will always see you.
Oh, thank you, Narissa. I have brown hair. Look, we're twins. Who here has brown hair? Oh, it's Jason Adler, Poemas UMass here. Voila.
Yes.
And then Gendy Writers on deck.
So the poem that I actually have is a calligram, but like I want to like preface it a little because it's in Spanish. So this is my first year, and I just want to thank the instructor at UMass, Danielle Thomas, for providing this to the Spanish department. And so this poem is inspired by like clothing that I've seen. It's a phrase that grow where you're planted or grow through what you go through. And so I'm a university student at the University of Massachusetts, but I'm in Alabama, and it's not really where I want to be right now. But I feel like this is a growth process. And so even though I want to be there, I'm trying to bloom where I'm planted at the moment. And so I think I can share the screen. And so it says, se crece una flor donde fue plantada, siempre fuerte. And so I'm putting like what that means in the chat. But I really appreciate this forum, and I hope you enjoyed my calligram.
Before you go, a calligram, is it?
a calligram.
How do you spell that? Calligram?
Yes, ma'am.
Jeez, he just called me ma'am. Okay. No, we're good. Thank you, because that's going to be a prompt next year. You just taught me something. That was gorgeous. I'm so glad you showed it to us. And even though you're not
Thank you.
in Massachusetts, you will be soon, I hope. Time to
I hope
change.
so.
Okay. Yeah. So glad you're with us. Okay, Jendi, you're up. Then a couple slides are on deck, and then Michael Goldman.
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay, so this has been wonderful. I'm so glad to be part of this again this year. And I've been doing a lot of activism this year, writing postcards and making phone calls right now for the Georgia Senate runoff. So I wrote a poem about the Georgia Senate runoff, and this form is called a guzzle, and you'll hear what the rhyme scheme is when I read it. 100 Georgia postcards make a poem. Turning the Senate blue, don't write our cause off. Time to work your ass off in the runoff for Jon Ossoff. Reverend Warnock, too, though hard to rhyme his name, could represent the state without taking his cross off. Incumbent Loeffler saw stocks about to dive, pandemic inside knowledge sold to write her loss off. Perdue, no relation to the chicken man, is scared to tell any campaign donor boss off. The lame duck fascist fears the winds of change will blow his toupee's pumpkin-colored floss off. While Giuliani sues to throw out ballots, his flop sweat streaks his TV makeup's gloss off. Democrats hustle to get out the vote, thousands of names to register and cross off. My hand's still sprained from the November race, like a cat's paws when the vet has pulled its claws off. Nonetheless, I will write 100 times, like a bad schoolboy dusting his blackboard chalks off. Dear Georgia voter, it all depends on you. Sincerely, Jendi, a volunteer for Jon Ossoff. Thank you. I'm going to send this to the campaign. I don't know if they're going to use it, but
Yeah.
We'll make them smile.
Someone wrote that in this chat. Send it to the campaign.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, so Noman, leave this slide. Everyone stretch. Put your hands up above your head unless there's a chandelier right there. And if you're holding anything in your glass, don't spill it. We've had multiple students acquire certificates in the health field, which has been amazing in terms of helping them facilitate their ability to get a job. And the next slide. And those are really good looking people. Oh, they're also happy students. So thank you. I hope you're all stretched really well. We have about 15 readers to go, and it just keeps getting better, and not that it wasn't the best all the way at the beginning. So make that happen in your mind. Michael Goldman, you're up. Carol Reinhardt, you're on deck.
All right, thank you. This is a short poem called About Face. My face has about 6 parts, and during the course of common conversation, it enters into gyrations, raising, lowering, widening, narrowing, protruding, withdrawing, all on its own, fooling people into thinking that's the way I am. But I'm not my face. I happen to be using it, or it's using me out of convenience. My face communicates with yours as we stand by anxiously awaiting results. Thanks.
Thank you. Well read. Okay, Carol Reinhardt, and then Brooks Robards.
My poem is called An Ode to Hugging.
Yay.
In a Zoom meeting this week, a dear person rued the loss of our being able to hug each other. It got me thinking about hugs. Ah, the humble hug, as taken for granted as saying please and thank you. They say Eskimos have 50 names for snow. Islam has 99 names for the divine. How many names are there for hugs, I wonder? There's always the may I hug, shy and tentative, or the really can't be refused hug, reluctantly accepted by adolescent nephews who groan, I guess it's a fact of life. Then again, the frosty how are you hug or the custom requires it hug may actually be preferable to the too long hug, the one that feels like sticky marshmallow or peanut butter on the roof of the mouth. Of course, there's the guy hug, the ritual my daughter and I love to watch as Dad and his old friend greet one another after a time apart. Always the same, the hey, the clench, the pat, pat, pat. Lovely are the blessing hugs, the receiving line hug, better yet, the I see you see me hug. Best of all are the safe home hugs, for the moments in which the hearts share a rhythm of healing that sing, how I have missed you. I'm so glad you are here.
Thank you. That was wonderful to hear. All right, Brooks Robards is up and then Lindsay Rockwell.
Okay, am I unmuted?
You are. We hear you.
All right, good. It being November that we're writing, I found myself writing a lot about the changes of the seasons, whether looking out the window, walking, or riding my bike on the bicycle trail. So, and this is a poem that was inspired by being on the bicycle trail. Leaf melt. Caked leaves have died and lost their color. Others, still alive, skitter across the sidewalk like a herd of small animals. In early snow, leaves, their heat, their color, melt the season's white wash, leaving behind skirts in tree shades, banks, rooftops, soon to vanish, disappear. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that. Leaves like herds. Okay, thank you. Rock, you ready?
I'm ready.
I mean, Lindsay Rockwell, and then Sarah Rossmassler is after Lindsay. Okay.
All right, so good to be here with all of you, sharing all of our rooms, and huge thanks and love to Sarah Sullivan for being our fearless leader this month. The poem I'm going to read is entitled Field Notes. I love how branch whittles blue, and all that splays has roots. I love that breath arrives from green, and before that, nebula and muons. I love how snow holds leopard's trace, and night becomes the dark after undressing sun. That arrows don't fly backward, and wind has no home. How memories glide winged, and kites rely on sky. I love the sound of the word horse, and the animal she is, and how she scares me, and I feel small, and makes me remember I am.
Thank you.
Okay, that's no problem.
I'm right from the first line. Oh, hello, Sarah. After Sarah, we are going to have another video of a student, and then Jody Shapiro will be up after that. And is everyone on mute? Is that just your background, Sarah?
Yes, it's my background.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good ambiance.
It's my daughter. I can't stop it. Here we go.
Beautiful.
So my poem is inspired by the work I do at the hospital down in Springfield. My poem's titled Devoted Daughter. The devoted daughter dotes on her mother, our patient, the one in the bed with stool in her wound, no teeth, no voice, no way to move without help. Unable to swallow, fed through a tube, she hails from Italy, this immigrant matriarch, never learning English, now bound to her daughter, who never leaves her side.
It's been great talking to you.
Poor thing, everyone in the ICU whispers. Why won't she let her go? We all judge the quality of this woman's life and deem it unworthy. My task today is to convince this devoted daughter to see the lingering, the debility, the bed sores, as evidence that death, peaceful death, would be better than this existence. The daughter welcomes me in, to my surprise. I ask about not just her mom, but her too. Struggling, she shares. Human being like me. Loves her mother like me. Idiosyncratic and stubborn like me. But she's labeled difficult and irrational. A daughter's life paused, subsumed. She did it for me when I was a baby, she explains. Stroking her mother with visible tenderness, we judge her choices, lifestyle, ethics. Type her as the devoted daughter, which is code for aberrant and demanding. Knowing looks between clinicians. We've told her before her mother wouldn't survive, but she does again and again, living more years when we predicted weeks or months. This life so dispensable, resource draining and overdue from our viewpoint, so precious from hers. She asks me about my parents, whether they are still alive. I share that they are. Tells me she understands why I come. Disarmed, I twist away from our presumptions. Looking at love can be startling.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. That is, both sides of that one. That was, thank you.
Asma from Egypt. I was a student in the Center for New America. I like to say many thanks for the center because they helped me to get my services certificate to start my business. And here we are now. I already started my business and thank you so much.
Thank you. That's good food. So that is a graduate student who has a business there. That was her serving food. She has provided food, I believe, for some of the food truck is in Greenfield, that food truck, Lynette.
Shelburne Falls.
Oh, Shelburne Falls. Somewhere not in Northampton, if I could be sociocentric. Okay, so, but yeah, it's another wonderful, wonderful story. Jody Shapiro, you are on, and then Mary Ellen Shaw.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of this for another year. This is year 5 for me, I think. I wrote this poem. It's called Antidote Recipe, and it was shortly after the election. With pints of transfused blood bright so red, mixed with pounds of synergy, extrude deception. Unearth and sift the seeds of exasperation. Thrash weeds of hate into flour. Mix the seeds that were once so despicable into pear tarts. Soak in brine hammers to rebuild our houses, reduced to a paste walls that barricade. Stir in bowls upon bowls of pure vision, sprinkling a fine dust of justice. Roast the piles of threats and talk garbage mixed with moldy, flattened ideas, thrown off the cliff into the gorge, baked to a beautiful landscape souffle. Together we feast.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Mary Ellen Chauhan and then Frances Slayback.
I just wanted to thank both Lori and Sarah starting out for their encouragement and their support and their patience with everybody, especially me, for a whole month. I know it is a fantastic job, but thank you. Someone else said they were reading a poem was from November 19th. Mine is too. I think this is my 9th year of writing them, so it was fun. Actually, it was easier this year because I was at home most of the time, so I didn't feel pressured. This is called What's an Accordion Without the Wheeze? Early in my marriage, I taught piano, organ, and accordion in a music studio. I'd played both piano and organ for many years, but had never laid hands on an accordion. I could play the right hand and I could play the left hand, but I could not compress and release time after time after time while the fingers of my right hand and the fingers of my left hand played their prescribed notes. I am not proud of the fact that I withheld this information from my students. Strangely enough, though I was unsuccessful in my attempts to play the accordion, I was able to teach my students how to make music with this wheezy instrument, how to play with both hands while simultaneously compressing and releasing, compressing and releasing. The parents glowed with pride at the accomplishment of their musically gifted children. Had they known the truth about the friendly young woman who was their teacher, they might have said she was a fraud, a modern-day snake charmer, a salesman of cough medicine who had not used the product, a female music man who could not play the instrument. All that was missing were the 76 trombones. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Frances Slayback and then Jenny Sullivan.
Hi, I'm in a writing group that's led by Narissa Nields, and she gave us a prompt that was to write about joy. And my poem is called This Feeling. Those red-tailed hawks down at the garden, and those long walks that make my feet ache, and sweet talks about making people start healing. All these things make me have the same feeling. And in that small canoe, yelling echo, and in my kayak finding clay, and being by the beach or on the bay, all these things make me have that feeling too, just like baby kangaroo, using my muscles to climb up that rock, sometimes getting bruises, and playing the scooter game, sometimes he loses, also squeezing honey and spending my money on books, or using grass to weave. This feeling is joy, I believe. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Totally joy. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Hey, Jenny, top that. You're on mute, Jenny. There you go. You're on.
Hard to top that even if I'm not on mute. So that was great.
Yeah. And Lynette's on deck, just so you know. All right, Jenny.
Okay. All right. Well, it's such a privilege to be here, and I just love hearing all these voices. And it's so interesting because there are all these voices, all the voices coming from the school, and then all the voices surrounding us in the community. I mean, it's very powerful. It's great. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to read this.
Just don't mess up.
This is called Belarusian Hymn. We are children of mothers who did not receive enough love from their mothers and could not tell us how it was, only how it felt. And it felt too hard to tell. We are children of mothers, and we are mothers of children who cannot tell us how it was, but only how it felt. And from such crumbs, we must construct a life. We are children who can yet be transformed by love, who yearn for stories to tell us who we are. A hymn we sing, each voice blended like a choir, making room for other voices, knowing we are all children of mothers, knowing nothing was said to us, knowing everything was said. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. You came pretty close. I love you. That's fantastic. Okay, Lynette is up, and then Gail Thomas is on deck.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank Lori for answering my many stupid questions via email. I couldn't figure out how to make my fundraising website. Anyway, she answered me so patiently and sweetly every time. And Sarah, your prompts have been amazing, and I'm so happy and proud to be part of this community. Everybody's poems have been wonderful. I too wrote in forms the entire time, and I'm going to read a Petrarchan sonnet that I wrote actually on November 3rd. A lesson from Amanda Palmer's podcast. The darkness brings forth incredible fruit, says the radio voice, speaking of seeds planted in pain, growing high over weeds, bearing juicy picks to help you transmute. Whether you want this abundance is moot. It's how your buried grief expresses needs by shaping a poem or art. It proceeds to find truth you can't otherwise uproot. How lucky those who dabble in the light, their poems vague and empty, their paintings bland. They've had no blow to bring them to their knees, so they don't know to scrabble through the night, tearing their nails as they dig. Instead, they stand tall and unmoved amid bright, barren trees. Thank you all.
Nat, it's great to be hearing your work again.
Thank you.
All right, Gail Thomas, you're up.
Thank you, everyone.
Fungi after that.
I'm going to read a poem I wrote on the first day, on November 1st. And it's an Aubade, which is a poem that is set in dawn or early morning. Aubade between seasons. Suddenly, the hummingbirds battling over a red blossom disappear, replaced by goldfinch swaying on the bent necks of late sunflowers. Ravished seed heads spear through mist. First light drags its feet. Sun retreats to its far corner. Scent of earth and rot. Green tomatoes that lost their bid to ripen. One last morning glory opens. One bloody leaf splays on the fading lawn. Raucous jays set off alarms. Wind chimes in counterpoint. Still unfrozen, jewels of orange and yellow marigolds wait to drape ofrendas on Dia de Muertos. Skin and hair, lips and teeth of long gone lovers call out to wake me from long sleep. Fear shattered, anger forgiven. You.
Love learning about that form or term, Aubade. Thank you so much. And are we doing?
Sarah, why don't you just continue? We only have a few more writers to go, and
Is
let's-
Fungi here?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Chichawangana, did I say your last name correctly?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, this is Fungi, an amazing community member, and he has a website as a resource also for poetry activities and appreciate all you do for us. I haven't seen any of your poems yet this year, so I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The poem I'm going to read is an attempt to answer this question. Curves of being. Nuance is the way a straight line bends a little differently for everyone. Empathy is the way we fit our understanding into someone else's bend. Love is the way two bends or more become one curve of knowing. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. All right, Sharon Tracy, you are up, and then Cassie is after Sharon.
Okay, greetings. I'm going to read my poem from November 16th that I titled, What Animal Learns Nothing? Eucalyptus scrolls of pink and green bark, the crackle and pop of cottonwoods, locusts and oaks, forests of falsehoods and scattering flocks, herds of wild elk, smoking sagebrush and cheatgrass, barnyards and stables, humble houses and mansions, anger and ignorance and arrogance tied up with twine and tossed with the bales, wildflowers and tiny seeds adrift in the breeze, hate with its small crooked teeth, barrels of oil, scarecrows and crowds of disbelievers, a fresh dose of oxygen, headwinds and tailwinds and greed, laundry left flapping on the clothesline, all fuel for the fire. Some days I feel we might stand here forever through every dry season, all colors and creeds, two-legged creatures who kick all the horses, pull too hard on the reins, rage at the world and stampede. Thank you.
Thank you. What energy, nicely read. That was. All right, Cassie?
Cassie is here.
Cassie World Mary.
I want to thank Laurie and Sarah, amazing support all the way through the month. This was apparently the last poem I wrote. I sent it out on what I called Sunday, November the 30th, which actually was a Monday this year. So I had to write one more poem, but I sent this one out to my supporters. It's called Chopin on Ice. Her arms lifted lightly. She glided forward onto her right leg, her left raised behind her in a small, slight arabesque, stretched long as a great blue in flight. If the ice creaked, groaned, the child cared little. She pushed, moving faster, and with sheer abandon flew like mute swans mating into lines sinuously curved. Abruptly she halted, started slowly, then with increasing speed pulled herself in an attempted spin, her feet together, imagining herself a tornado of pirouettes. No one heard the Chopin filling her head. Only she knew how to float over the frozen surface, how to choreograph across the pond in Petite Jetée, a chipmunk navigating its rock wall in tiny little patterns. Leaping, laughing, dreaming Grand Jetée, she murmuring rhythms under her breath, she relaxed into the sounds that filled her being, her life. From the woods, one person watched, unseen. One person understood the unheard music, listened as if it were Chopin, felt the movement, beheld the beauty. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was gorgeous. I think everyone, that just leaves.
No, you need Jean Blakeman. Do you have Jean? Jean, are you reading this year or are you just watching?
Oh, I'm reading. Sorry.
Oh, Jean, where have you been all my life?
Hello, Sarah.
And so this is just like pretending the end of the alphabet is at the beginning and vice versa.
I wasn't sure where I was going to be, but
I'm so
yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Go, Jean! And
So I
now
wanted to-
Jean Blakeman.
I wanted to say thank you to Lori and Sarah and everyone. And this fall, I was so thrilled when the Nobel Prize in Literature went to Louise Gluck, you know, an American woman poet and one of my favorites. So I've just immersed myself in her and just read everything. So this is called After Reading Louise Gluck. It is a kind of practice, counting small sorrows, losses, like the days of fall, everything falling, or not even the sorrows. Then the big sadness from the congested earth, waves frozen, trees under cover. You are practicing for death, but didn't call it that. Called it something like birth.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, great to see you.
Thank you.
Great to hear you.
Thanks.
Ah. Okay. Now, for a moment, I'm going to pretend I'm Jane Yolen, who could not join us tonight. She wrote this poem on November 11th, and it is called We Take a Deep Breath. There is a huge breath throughout the nation and a few rough pants, like dogs chained together, pulling a sled in the snow. We will have to work together or die under the feet of some errant moose. A choir only makes beautiful music when the parts fit. I was an alto. I always knew I had a supporting role. If we keep our knees off one another's necks, the breaths will come easier. I will help you stand if you will help me walk. One breath after another, after another, after. Great. Thank you, Jane. Sorry she couldn't be with us tonight. So I'm going to read a poem I wrote on November 8th. And it's called Not a Complaint. And this is what it looks like, because I like people to know what poems look like. Okay. Not a complaint. Tranquility was long ago uprooted for the sake of a clearing, excuse me, for the sake of a clearing en route to a tower which overlooks annual comings and goings, traffic and leaves, bikers and skis. Do you remember fields of trees, their dense command of scenery? When upset, we leaned against oaks, knew their sturdy trunks, traced the knobby script, bark's weathered marks. Sometimes those husks reminded us, be sure to see the trees, not just the forest. I am part of the traffic. I've biked on the trails, I've skied. I drive to see the turning leaves. This must not be a complaint, therefore, about trodden treeless fields, empty of their wizened beings. I, too, climb the watchtower, contemplate the view. And
I think that's it.
I think that is it.
So thank you to our fearless MC and to
And-
all of these talented
Yay,
readers
Sarah!
and this wonderful audience
Hey, everyone.
and
Yay,
to everyone for all of your support.
I know that. Thank you, everyone.
Bravo, bravo. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Right on, you guys.
So great to see you all. What an amazing array of poems and what talent here. Just what heart, amazing heart, you guys.
And we will have a recording, which we will share with you, perhaps with another copy of the program. Thank you for sharing all your time and talent and treasure with us.
Thank you, Lori.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you, everybody.
Was it beautiful?
Hi, thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Jean Jellybean.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Sarah.
Good to see you, Carol. Thank you.
Don't forget to save the chat because it will go away. It's got a lot of good stuff in it.
How do you save the chat?
Yeah, you click the file button at the bottom of the chat, and it gives you a choice to save it to your computer or to Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive.
Or you can just select all and copy it, paste it somewhere.
Yeah, it's a lot of scrolling. Oh, just
Just select all.
Just hit control whatever and select all. It didn't work for me, but. All right, well, we will also have it saved if you need a copy. So if you'd like a copy. Hey, great sweater, Cassie.
So old. Thank you. I would like a copy of the chat. I'm not sure I can do it. I'm going to see if I can do it now.
Yeah.
Before I leave.
Anyone want to read a poem?
What a lovely evening. Marvelous.
It was.
I don't know how to do this. File. I don't know how to copy it. Oh well. Fare thee well. Night, night.
Night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.
Look at all these great people. Oh.
Hi, Mom.
Great job. You didn't screw up.
I wish I could see my mom. Mom, turn on your video, Mom.
Come on,
She's
Mom.
okay, maybe she's shy. Okay.
All right.
Should I turn it off? Should I end it?
Please end it,
Hi,
Peg. Just end it, please.
Okay.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.